At an industrial convention banquet, I was seated at the speaker's table next to a man who, though a bit on the rough side, was very likable. He may have felt a bit cramped by his proximity to a preacher, which obviously wasn't his usual company. During the dinner, he used a number of theological words, but they were not put together in a theological manner. After each outburst, he apologized, but I advised him that I had heard all those words before. He told me he had been a church attendant as a boy, but had gotten away from it. He gave me that old story which I have heard all my life and which even now people get off as something entirely new with. When I was a boy, my father made me go to Sunday school and church and crammed religion down my throat. So when I got away from home, I couldn't take it anymore, and have seldom been to church since. This man then observed that perhaps he should start going to church since he was getting old. I commented that he would be lucky to find a seat. This surprised him, for he did not think anybody went to church anymore. I told him that more people attend church each week than frequent any other institution in the country. This rather bowled him over. He was head of a medium-sized business, and he fell to telling me how much money his firm took in last year. I told him I knew quite a few churches whose take exceeded that. This really hit him in the solar plexus, and I noted his respect for the church mounting by leaps and bounds. I told him about the thousands of religious books that are sold, more than any other type of book. Maybe you fellows in the church are on the ball at that, he slangily remarked. At this moment, another man came up to our table and enthusiastically told me that something wonderful had happened to him. He said he had been very depressed, for things hadn't been going well with him. He decided to get away for a week or so, and on this vacation read one of my books in which practical faith techniques are outlined. He said this brought him the first satisfaction and peace he had felt. It encouraged him as to his own possibilities. He began to believe that the answer to his trouble was practical religion. So he said, I began to practice the spiritual principles presented in your book. I began to believe and affirm that with God's help, the objectives I was endeavoring to accomplish could be achieved. A feeling came over me that everything was going to be all right. And from then on, nothing could upset me. I absolutely knew it was going to be okay. So I began to sleep better and feel better. I felt as if I had taken a tonic. My new understanding and practice of spiritual techniques were the turning point. When he left us, my table companion, who had listened in on this recital, said, I never heard anything like that before. That fellow talks about religion as happy and workable. It was never presented to me that way. He also gives the impression that religion is almost a science, that you can use it to improve your health and do better in your job. I never thought of religion in that connection. Then he added, but do you know what struck me? It was the look on that guy's face. Now the curious fact is that when my table companion made that statement, a semblance of the same look was on his own face. For the first time he was getting the idea that religious faith is not something poisely stuffy, but is a scientific procedure for successful living. He was observing at first hand the practical working of prayer power in personal experience.